Hello and welcome to the video. In this video, I will be saying my opinion on every single MHUR character's A-Quirk, and explaining why exactly I think that way for each character. And to make sure this is an exact copy of an older video, you should check it out by the way. I will not be going off any other quirk but the A-Quirk itself and their base movement. I will bring up the fact that if characters have movement options or not, it can be a better quirk. Otherwise, I'm leaving them out. So combos do not count for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment about if you like this video or not, or if you have any opinions that are different from mine. I enjoy reading them, and sometimes I just simply do not understand something as well as others, and I try to be like, wait a minute, like with All Might. And subscribe, because I appreciate every subscriber and it would help me so much. Check out my other content, and let's start the video. Izuku. Izuku's A-Quirk, Delaware Smash Air Force, is both a mouthful, and it shoots quick, green gusts of air that change color depending on the quirk level from green to red. Add on the fact that it has a secondary mode that acts like a railgun that stuns and forces the enemy to get back up, allowing you to move in or out of a situation depending on what you need. And it's a great start off to A-Quirks in general, and probably one of the higher tier A-Quirks I would say. I enjoy it a lot, it feels good, and I would 100% say it is a really good A-Quirk. Now on to Bakugo. The easiest way to imagine Bakugo's AP shot is a hit scan version of Izuku's projectiles without the big hitbox. They can also shoot through walls, meaning if you know an enemy's general position, you can take pot shots from a completely safe area and just keep going. Honestly, if Izuku didn't have a secondary mode, I would say Bakugo's A-Quirk just completely dwarfs it, but I would say they're pretty even. Uraraka. Uraraka's Zodiac Wire is both a great movement quirk and a solid damaging shot to boot. Issue is, it is completely inconsistent, unless if you are grounded and aiming at an enemy specifically. Most of the time you're going to be wanting to use it for movement, and sometimes it just doesn't want to hit the target you intend it to hit. Some people may say skill issue, but I have had many moments where I've definitely hit something, or it should have hit, and it just misses because the projectile just completely goes a different direction for no reason. I've seen it practically scale around the side of a building, and I can never explain why it happens. A great A-Quirk that is completely sunken down by the fact that it is inconsistent as all heck. Not my favorite, but if it ever gets a update where it's not inconsistent, probably one of my favorites in the game. I love it. Ida. Ida's A-Quirk Recipro Wheel on any other character would probably be an average quirk, but because Ida oozes movement with every step he takes, it's a really good move to either push in and get the easiest 3-hit combo of your life, get higher ground, or just run away. It's what you would want in a melee A-Quirk, and I like it a lot. Probably one of my favorite melee A-Quirks in the game. Todoroki. Todoroki's Blazing Fields of Roaring Fire is like a faster Izuku shot, but less forgiving and has bleed damage. They're both faster firing and they move faster. Add on that each shot individually does bleed damage to the health via fire damage, and it's just a really good quirk. Definitely up there with Izuku and Bakugo's. Froppy time. Froppy just got a nerf recently, reducing her shots in her quirk A from 3 to 2. But that doesn't stop her quirk from being an absolute monster, still being one of the best movement tools in the game and being Uraraka's Zodiac Wire, but infinitely better. Ribbit shot is both well ranged, and you can choose whether to move with it if you're in the air, or stay on the ground and take pot shots from a safe distance. And it will just allow you to get in and out of interactions at your own will with ease, making it a really good tool for Froppy herself since she is a very high jump and fast movement character. Still, after the debuff, it's an absolute monster and probably one of the top quirks in the game. Kirishima. Kirishima as a whole is a great character, but his A-Quirk alone is alright. It's a bunch of small hits comboed into a big hit at the end, and it is very comboable, but also really easy to lose the target in the small hits. It's great for movement, but the fact that you have to get up to the enemy to use it at all, and you don't ooze speed like Ida, means it's alright. To get in to use it is half the battle, but once you get in, it is a really good A-Quirk. I would recommend it. Momo. Momo's Create, Strike, and Stop is a formidably close range attack with a 3-hit combo and high damage. I've been complaining about melee type attacks a lot, but Momo has the tools to get in and use them, and it just has one of the highest hit stun close range quirks in the game. It may get carried by its hit stun and sheer size, but it is one of the best close range quirks in the game, and I will never drop down from that. I absolutely love it. Kaminari. Kaminari's A-Quirk can either be the best A-Quirk known to man, or also the worst A-Quirk known to man if they have distance on you. It acts a lot like Izuku's and Bakugo's, but cut their range by 2/3 and allowed Tesla gates between the shots, and you got Kaminari's. If you can force the enemy into your Tesla gate, it's one of the highest hit stun quirks in the game. Otherwise, it is not that great. Kendo is next, and the stone throwing fist just isn't that great to me. It's a shotgun type rock quirk, which wouldn't be that bad, but the spread is quite absurd in my opinion. If she had some movement abilities or something, I would probably give it a higher rating. But other than shielding in, all you've got is just shotgunning. And chances are you're just gonna hit 1 or 2 pellets for 40 damage and get shot for like 120 in that time. Just one of my least favorite A quirks in the game probably. Ibara. Ibara's purification is very ideal for her, and probably one of the best feeling non-movement A quirks in the game. It hits 2 to 4 times depending on if you scope in or not, and each hit has a hit stun, meaning if you hit them with the first hit, the others are sure to follow. Add in the fact that it can go around and above walls, or across the floor, and in my opinion is probably one of the most consistent feeling A quirks in the game. Every time I play Ibara, I have a great time with her A quirk, and probably one of my most favorite feeling quirks in the game. All Might. In the past, I was really giving All Might a lot of scrutiny, admittedly, but after playing a few more matches with him and trying to understand his A quirk, I like it a lot. It either does low damage if you hit them with the edge of it, or it does really high damage if you can hit them directly with the middle. It's one of the lower range projectiles in the game, but the sheer DPS you can get if you can get them in that range totally makes up for it. It's just a really good medium range shot that is both forgiving if you slightly miss, and rewarding if you hit them directly. Aizawa. Oh, Aizawa. I hate Aizawa's A quirk with all my heart. His blinding cloth capture would be really good, only in a 1v1 situation. If you're in the air with it, you'll go up to them and try to kick them. If you do it on the ground, you'll bind them and can either do the aforementioned kick, or you can pull them over to you to use a different quirk on them. The only issue is your 2 options are this. You can either go to them and hope the enemies don't focus you when you're in their territory, or bind them on the ground and try to bring them to you, but stand completely still for the enemies to gun you down. And with my experience with them, it feels awful in either situation. It is only good for a 1v1, and I just don't like it very much at all. Cementoss. Cementoss's Pillar Spit is not the run-of-the-mill shoot and do damage or shoot and move A quirks. Each shot creates a pillar that if you hit a wall with it goes horizontally, but if you hit the ground goes vertically. The vertical form of it is really good for either hitting an enemy, getting to higher ground to heal, or just to use it to get to an advantageous angle. And the horizontal version of it can be used to cut off any exits the enemies are trying to escape to. It's one of the highest skill ceiling quirks, I would say, but it also has a high skill floor, since it is a projectile that must hit the ground first or hit the enemy directly, which isn't the easiest thing to do. Otherwise, it's probably one of the best A quirks in the game with sheer potential. Mount Lady. I brought up Mount Lady slightly in the All Might portion, but imagine her as a more hit scan All Might. Her spike knuckles are medium range burst shots that do good damage, shoots 2 shots per burst, and have 2 forms during her normal form and her giant form. During her giant form, they become meteor-like shots with high AoE and slow movement speed. I think her A quirk is great, but I have heard complaints about her and I can completely understand those complaints. But in my personal opinion, it is just a really good quirk. Shigaraki. Shigaraki's Earthcrack is a great ground tool, but also suffers from being a great ground tool, since it's such a great ground tool that it's not allowed to go anywhere horizontally. The shots are medium-sized strips on the ground that do lingering damage, and last for a decent amount of time. The only issue with that is a lot of the roster has movement moves or speed that can outrun Shigaraki, meaning if they get on higher ground, the only way to do damage is to go up there and get them, or break them with your special skill. If you can force a grounded engagement and cut off their exits with the quirk, otherwise, you'll probably be useless in a fight. It's a big upside with a big downside, and that's all there is to it. Dabi. I've gotten a lot of comments about Dabi since my last video, talking about all the characters, but his A quirk in itself isn't that bad, most of all in concept. It's a medium range, lock-on ball that moves slowly but makes up for it locking on. The big upside is you don't need a clear shot on them if you want to hit them, as long as if you know their general direction. The downside is if they know your general direction, it is so slow moving you can usually dodge or run around the projectiles, making them useless. There are times where it's been hard for me to dodge out of the projectile's way, taking hits, but otherwise the slow speed are such a big downside. I'd say they're a pretty mid-tier A quirk. Toga. I really have been enjoying Toga's A quirk, Jagged Throwing Knives, and don't quote me on this, but I think it's the longest range projectile in the game. They have medium speed, low damage, but they make up for it with sheer volume by being many throwing knives, with quirk ups turning them into a large barrage of knives for a bigger hitbox. If you can predict the enemy where they'll be across the map, you can probably get a knock out of them as well. Just a really good A quirk. It's consistent, but a little bit slow. Mr. Compress. I may get a bit of criticism from this choice, but I think Production Magic is one of the best A-Quirks in the game, from its sheer utility and damage. You shoot out a little blue ball that does some damage, but that blue ball bursts into trash that does high damage, onto wherever it lands. And you get a lot of them, each doing high damage if you can hit them both with the ball and with the trash. Let alone the fact that you can zoom in to get a higher range or zoom out to get a closer range. And he is by far one of the highest damaging, safest characters in the game if you use him correctly. Probably the best A-Quirk if you know how to utilize it. And thank you for watching the video. For anyone still watching, I already have some ideas and videos in the works, but I think I will turn this my opinion on blank into a more general series of videos. I don't know how far I'm willing to go with it yet, but as time will tell, I'll probably do more games, maybe music, who knows. Otherwise, I enjoyed writing these, hated recording them, and if you listen to this yapathon, you may as well like and subscribe. Bye.